All right, good afternoon, class. Let's start off with some housekeeping. So, discussion questions. You must post your code and attach your Python files to the group discussions, as well as critique at least two other students' work. Pretty self-explanatory. This is an online class. This is all we do in discussions. Um, Pretty simple. Post your code, cut, paste your code, throw it in the post, attach your .py files, respond to two other people. If you start off early in the week and do one every 3 days, it's really easy to do. Now, for your individual files and group files, they must be .py files. Name them correctly. Use the template provided and complete the header. If you use advanced functions or things not mentioned in class, you must comment them. From now on, these simple things will, if you do not do them, you'll get a 0. If you cannot follow simple instructions on how to hand in a file at the week 6, it literally, I've been beating it every week, telling you what to do over and over. Most of you got it. There's about 25% of you that don't. So get it. Also, if you need to email me code, you must send it as a .txt file. Outlook 365 removes Python files. So those of you waiting on grades have been sending me Python files, and I respond back to send me text files. Send me a text file, I'll hook it up. If you're missing grades, I suggest you ping me. If you reply all, I do not respond to those. I only respond to the messages that are directly to me, not to the group, because they go to a different inbox. I don't even see them. Let's see. That's about it for housekeeping. Pretty self-explanatory. All this stuff has been discussed since week 1. Most of you, like I said, most of you are kicking butt, doing great work. Uh, it shows in your grades, right? So, take take the time to be successful. I want to talk about lesson 5. So lesson 5 in particular is about how to work with strings. Let me tell you the big picture of this lesson. It's data, how to manipulate data. What do you think data science is? Data science is 75% cleaning the data before you could use it in some type of structured format. So what does that mean? Well, removing extra spaces, slicing, removing weird characters that you find, replace, um, joining things together with join, changing things to lower. All the methods that you learn in this lesson, I use daily. They're common. These are the fundamentals. Also, in your lab, I want to note here, you are to, number 3 is important, not use order char. Those are not functions that will help you with a string. We're looking at string methods in this lesson. Order and char are what? Not ASCII, Unicode. They're no place in this lesson, right? Pretty simple stuff. I'll go through a couple things this evening to clear this up a little bit. Might be a little easier for you. But the group exercise will, if you use replace, it's not going to hurt you, right? So we could talk about that. You could also use indexing and slicing, and I'll talk about that as well during the group exercise. Let's take a look at the group exercise. Just dive right into it, right? So as a translator, hello becomes ahoy, hi becomes yo ho ho. It's a pirate to English translator. No problem, right? Let's just grab this. I'll just grab this here. We'll start with this. So one thing is you have this hello becomes ahoy. Well, one quick thing is you could open up a new text file, dump this in here, and we'll get to this in a minute for quickly syntaxing things, right? Changing syntax. So you're gonna have your header, you're gonna have your 4 lines, view, comment. We'll talk about how we're gonna set up this code. Well, one thing, you could define a header, open, close, We'll get to that. We could define a program, end program, end program. We could also define our main space here. Let's see what else we could do here. We could define, let's see, we're going to translate. We're going to replace the original message. So we could define a replace original message. And this will take original. This will take a parameter. We'll fill it later, right? So we can start off with this. And you're going to need your if name is equal to underscore main, then run your main program. That should be good, right? Let's start off to find the header. Let's see, we could do something like print. Start off with this. We'll do a bunch of spaces. That's cool. Actually, we'll do this. Tab, tab, tab. My bad. Tab, tab. 10 spaces. Welcome to the translator. Translator. There you go. Boom. Make this a little larger while we work on it. Welcome to translator. Copy this. Some directions, maybe. This is a pirate translator. So what we could do here is let the user know what words are going to be changed. Let's see, end equals, we'll do nothing. Let's see, we'll close this. I'll say no space for fun. I'll just close this one. We'll see how that looks. So we have our header, right? So that's cool. 2 spaces between defined programs. Let's see, 1, 2, that's it. End program, you could do the same thing. This is the end of the program. Grab this fun stuff, put it there. Program has ended. Let's see, we could just get rid of that. That's fine. And here we could say print our stall tactic, right? And a close program. And we could test this out anytime we want, which we'll go ahead and test out. So header and end program, we got our main. We're going to run the header first, and then we'll run our end program next. We'll test this out, see if these 2 functions work. So Python will load all this into memory, do our name main check, make sure it's available in memory, run main. Main will trigger off header, and then end program. Header and end program. Let's see if that works. Save. I'll save it to desktop. I'll call it 2252 underscore class underscore L5. Oh, I got one already done. Oh, that's individual lab. L5 group lab. Cool. I hit F5. Now we have it never closed. Double parentheses got me. Easy fix. Now I got my unexpected syntax. Now look at this. I defined something, but I didn't put anything in it. So what pass works best, right? There we go. So here you can see that we have our header, and then our end program works as designed. We're starting off awesome. Now all we have to do is the hard stuff. So now we have to replace something. But in our main, we got the header. What we could do here is ask for a phrase. So literally create a variable called phrase, do a string, input. What is the phrase you would like translated? Right, that's about right. Looks good. Double parentheses again. So we're going to grab our phrase. And now once we have our phrase, we can call it new phrase. And we'll have phrase dot lower. This is a method of a string class. Well, what does that mean? Here, I'll show you. If you do a dir on a string, the type of object, and hit enter, these are all the methods. You'll see them look familiar. Join, strip, split, lower, upper. These are methods of a class. Nothing more than a function for a type of object. That's what a method is. And lower is one of those. So now we're going to take all the input, we're going to lower it, throw it in a new phrase, and we'll call on another, we'll actually call on translate, or we can call it translated or translate. And here we'll call on our function of replace original message. And here is we'll pass our new phrase as the argument, right? So then we have to build that out. But when that comes back, it's going to return something, and we could print translate, right? So that makes sense. And then we got our end program right there. But we got the meat and potatoes here. We got to replace original. So first thing that's going to happen is we have to create a new variable. We can call it new, equals, and then we're going to use original, if you spell it right. Original. There you go. And now here is we're going to call dot replace, and we're going to say hello, comma, I believe this is ahoy, right? And then it's going to be followed by this type of activity, right? So there's a couple things you could do. Go back to your notepad and just do this, right? This is where that home and end key comes in place, right? Home's your friend. So that's starting to look like code now, right? And now what you see here is you got this, and now space becomes space. Edit, replace, space becomes space, and we'll give it that, hit replace. I should find replace all, but oh well. And now what we have here is, just to close this up, a little faster than type and everything, unless you could type super fast, and you could take your pick. Now we gotta watch our, is that really the to th? The becomes th, and there becomes the r. Okay, let's see. Gonna have to escape that, right? Where to war? Is that real? Yes, it is. Cool. So this looks about right. So we'll grab this, copy it, take it over to our code, put that all there. So you can tab these all at once. Let's see. Sure can. So now we have new equals original replace ahoy, but now we want to work with our new equals new, because we don't want to undo the changes we've done. So new dot replace, and you can do find replace on this too, and just do replace dot new, or just do what I'm doing. A couple different ways you could speed this up, right? So now you have your original message that will be changed and passed down in a row, and if it finds any of these words, I got these in there twice. Well, I need that one. I don't need this one. Glad I looked. So we'll see if that works. And we're going to have to return something, and we're going to have to return new. So when we run this, it's going to take our phrase, change it to new phrase, replace OG is going to run on our new phrase, so that'll replace original. So our new phrase will go into original, then go into new, be swapped out. Oh, look at that. Changed. That was my bad right there. Perfect. And then at the end, it'll give us our new phrase in translate, and we'll print it, and we'll see how it goes. We'll start off simple and then get more complex, right? I didn't even see that the whole time. So while we are building this and about to test it, I'll hit save. Hit F5 to run it. Save it. So we have our header. What is the phrase you'd like to be translated? And I'll use Steve is my friend. So if we look at this, and I use Steve as my friend, is should be changed to be, my should be me, and friend should change to Bucko. Let's see if this works. Steve BB Bucko. Program is ended, right? So it's just working as designed, and we can go back in and clean this up. Grab this, put that there, home, backspace. I don't think we need this right here. Get rid of the end. That should be all cleaned up. Doesn't really matter. They don't have to be aligned, but I'm just making it a little prettier now. So then when we have all this and no new line, we'll actually have a new line there. Um, Actually, we'll throw it in two. That should be good. Box it up a little bit, make it look a little cleaner. Save, F5. Welcome to the translator. This is a pirate translator. What is the phrase you would like to translate? Steve is my friend. I'll try it again. And you have your new Steve BB Bucko. Program has ended. Okay, it's working out okay. Lot to be left desired, right? We still have to change ing to in. A little trickier, right? If there's punctuation, how do we deal with punctuation? Well, if we put in a punctuation mark, we could write another function called find punctuation and have that run, and we could slice something. So if I just go over here, create a new var1, and I'll put like I'm yelling Steve, right? If I wanted to get that last symbol, which exclamation point, last character in Steve, you slice it, but how do you call on that? Well, you call on it with slicing, -1, and hit enter. And now you have your end item, but you also never changed var1. So in reality, you can create a function that you can actually call it end character equals var1, slice it, and now your end character, no matter what it is, in this case, it is an exclamation point. Well, let me think. Then you could create another variable called punctuation equals quote. Just hold on the shift key, go across the top line, do that, right? Pretty easy. And now I could use in. So you could say if n char in punctuation, print we found punctuation, and then we'll do a n char, throw an F up front, and else, or elif, we can do an else. else print something like no punc found, right? No punctuation found. Oops. So we found punctuation, then it prints out what it is. Now, of course, you can clean this up and make it your own, but you can turn this into a function. Literally define a function called end object, slice your variable, find out if it's punctuation or not, handle it that way. Now, capitalize first letter. Could you do that? Of course. You could do it the opposite just by calling on one, right? Call it beginning character. Bar one, square bracket, one, square bracket. You could write a function called check first character. Um, if you want to check everything, if it's a name, you can create a list of names. How do you split a string? Like if I had a var2 and I put this is a string, how do I split that? Let's do var3 equals var2. Is it split? And now I have a list. Split by default will break up a string based off spaces. Now you can also change your delimiter, but the default delimiter is a space. And right there you have a list now. So now you can create a function called first or last, like I was talking about earlier, beginning character, end character. And I can literally say for each word, like if you were to in var3, for each word in var3, then you could do if end character, or beginning character, or whatever you designed, and run those against the individual words. So split your friend. Punctuation is pretty easy. You could also do something. I'll show you this. You could import string. And now, if you do a dir on string, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. And one thing is punctuation. As you call on string dot punctuation, this one gets no parentheses, I believe. It actually has a list of all the punctuation on a normal standard keyboard, or an English-speaking keyboard, right? So that's a cool way to get a list of punctuation. You could like easily say in your if statement to check that. Not a problem, right? Get your true or false back and rock and roll from there. Those are all fun things you could do. This is a good start for the group exercise. It's not the beginning or it's not the end. From now on, I want custom functions in every script from here on out. That's important. Why is it important? Because practice makes perfect. And every single script you write, it makes sense if you reutilize code you've already written, or if you find yourself doing it more than once, write new code so you have it for the future to use. If you write a really good rock, paper, scissors, and you write a really good translator, your final will be a breeze. You could use your own code, literally reutilize code you've already written, and create a final masterpiece. Let's see what else we got to cover here. But that's pretty much primarily it. That's for replace. And you can get tricky. There's other tricky ways to solve this. You could use enumerate, maybe. Um, all different types to ways to solve this. But here's the deal: use this in your book. These are literally the fundamentals, right? Learn the fundamentals, master the fundamentals, and design your code. Like, think how you design your code. Best practice is to put your main function up front. So let's just cut this. Good practice is two spaces between functions. Save F5, it still runs. because it all goes into memory and then runs accordingly. Steve Bucko still works. Everything's good to go. But that's pretty much it for well, there's a lot of other things that you cover, but slicing, joining, pretty self-explanatory. The challenges beat those up pretty good. Use them. Like you saw me test the end thing, what it is, if it's punctuation or not. There's a couple different ways you could do that. Get creative, have fun, test it. I'll go back up here. So there's a little end character punctuation. It's pretty self-explanatory. But have fun with this. Let's take a look at the final project. I think the final project is very similar. Yes, this isn't bad. Caesar cipher, right? So now, first off, it would behoove you to read a Caesar cipher, and understand what it is. But in reality, you don't need anything more than this. Because if you do this, I'll just put alpha equals then literally A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, right? The whole alphabet. And then if you want to put a space in there, you can put a space in there, put it at 0. If you want to put your punctuation, I would make a separate variable for punctuation. But now, since you have this, remember find, right? And let's try that. Let's try in first, right? So if we have is A in alpha, it says yes, but it doesn't give me the index, right? Now if we say find, what's the syntax for find? Anybody remember? Because this is going to be wrong, but I'm going to show you. Find A in alpha. Doesn't know what that is, right? You got to go alpha. Got to call in your list, find, and then what you want to find in your list, A. Comes back 1. That's an index 1. Easy peasy. That's pretty much your whole thing there, right? For each letter in my string, grab the end thing, see if it's punctuation. Now you can also do this. So now you have both your alphabets in here, and they're both going to have different indexes, right? So if I say alpha dot find, and I give it a capital A, gives you back 12. Well, now you can get tricky with your Caesar cipher. You could ask a user for a key. Well, what's a key? Well, a key is nothing more than key equals 3. So now I can say things like alpha, which will return me 12 plus key. And now I have 15. So now to decode that, I would just do the opposite. I would say 15, subtract key is 12, right? But you could do something like this. 15 minus key, call it check or something. And now you can call it alpha and then check because you're literally calling on the index of alpha, which is 12, and it returns your A. So that is how you encode and decode by using what is in the book. Adding the dashes is relatively simple. It's just like using the key that I just did, like plus sign and now rotating through these nothing more than a for loop or for each character in my string, do this. And you just put everything I just stuffed in there into your program. Now, if you do the group lab right, or fully extended, you check for punctuation, you write yourself a good function to check for punctuation, how I showed you, you could reutilize that in your individual lab. You could also check for capitalization, reutilize that in your individual lab. So you're going to see a trend here. We're going to start to be able to write reutilized code, which is our functions. And that is it for this evening. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.